When I think of
What do I
Paperhouse,
think of when I think of Paperhouse?
well, when Ian thinks of the Paperhouse, he thinks of my basement, and he thinks of
My basement.
his basement, and essentially the longest standing Minneapolis house venue in recent memory, which has incorporated
Many different splinter sects of youth culture.
specifically of the Minneapolis Guard. Yeah, we don't just live with musicians, we also have a lot of painters that have come by here once or twice, and that's another thing about the Paperhouse, is it not only attracts the weirdo music crowds, but it also attracts the people into physical art because of all the stuff that the kids write on the walls, and, it's just kind of overwhelming.
Paperhouse is kind of how I ended up joining the band.
Paperhouse just kind of allowed for there to be an opportunity where Kyle, myself, and Ian could honestly just hang out in a music-oriented environment, in the late hours and talk about whatever. Through that and being able to talk more, able to, eventually make plans that would lead for us to play together.
Hey, I'm Noah. I've lived here for 2 years. Been hanging out here for like 2.5. I paint, do mixed media, do collage, I've made album art, I've done huge ink drawings, I've sang on some songs, I do tattoos. What do I think of when I hear Paperhouse? I think of love, I think of care, like compassion. In certain senses, I think of rock and roll, I think of bullshit. At this point, it's really changed. It's really, there have been a lot of transitions in this house. A lot of different people come and gone. At different points, it meant really different things. I've always seen it as a place for expression. The freedom to, be who you are and find out who that is. And really try to explore different levels of what that can mean or what it can't mean to you. It's not like a comforting space, but it can be a comfortable one in the right mindset.
When I hear Paperhouse, I think of it as sort of like a art community more than just a music venue, I suppose.
Art and dancing.
Art and dancing, yeah. The thing about the Paperhouse is there's so much more encouragement for people to do their own thing rather than some house venues can be very picky with who they let play or the shows that they book, whereas the Paperhouse has something going every single weekend, at least one show a week lately, and that's a very different, very driven approach compared to a lot of people who are essentially doing it just to help touring bands get by.
Just an all-around inclusive, fun place. People are always just having fun, getting along, dancing, grooving.
It's like a kind of like a punk house too.
Yeah.
But there's not a lot of those around here. It's more just
This is a different thing, and you notice it right when you walk in the door and you see all the paint on the walls and the paintings and floor covered with cigarette butts. It's just a different vibe. I mean, if this is a place that you like to come see shows at, or a place that you like to come party at and get fucked up at, it's what it is to you. It's really a place that facilitates a lot of different things. People have different inhibitions in a place that's kind of dirty, and it seems like there's no rules and you can do whatever you like, and it makes playing shows here more fun because people go wild.
It's the best house show in town for sure.
Yeah, agreed.
It's cool that it's interesting enough that I've like heard it come up in conversation in like different corners of the country on tour. Like people have just casually mentioned it. And it's sick. We've like stayed with people at like their houses and they're just like talking like, oh, you're from Minneapolis. I think I played like a weird dungeony basement there, and I'm like, Paperhouse? And they're like, yeah, the place is cool.
Yeah, the rep of the Paperhouse definitely goes pretty far. I mean, they've had a lot of touring bands come through here, and just word of mouth, like, things get around very fast, I think.
Honestly, think of like my second home. I love coming here. You know, I never have a bad time here. The energy is always high, and you know, I know like Devin and Ian and everyone, and it's just like comforting being here. I don't know. It's good people all around, and so it's just kind of like good to be in an area where there's other people that kind of enjoy the same thing I do, and we're all kind of together supporting the same thing. Local music, local art, just general support of your peers and their creativity. So my first time at the Paperhouse was I think it was Prince Daddy and Hannah, that show with like Pierre and Hearts of Gold. I don't remember who else played, honestly, but it was just like, you know, the Hearts of Gold account was tweeting like, get here at 6, we play first. I don't think they even played first, but they're like, get here early, get here on time. I'm the first one here, so I have to walk into this house. I've never been here before, and I talked to Ian and I'm like, so I'm here for the show, and he was like, you are so early, like no one shows up till like 8 or 9, and I was like, alright, cool. And from there I was introduced to Devin, and we just hung up in the upstairs kitchen for a little bit and chatted. I met Pig, and I just kind of like hung out here just awkwardly until people started showing up and the show started going. So it was weird, but it was, you know, it was good. I don't know, overall, I just really love this place, and I don't know, I like being here. I don't know, it's just all my love.
What I think of when I hear Paperhouse is that it's about to go down. Because it's become the venue. Everyone knows it's like, oh, the Paperhouse is having another show. Like, get your phones ready, like tell everyone that it's going down, share the flyer, because it's gonna go down. That's what it's become.
When I think about the Paperhouse, I think about in equal parts freedom of expression, and then cigarette butts and crushed beer cans and plans to rule the fucking world, pretty much, you know. And it's only for a moment. Being on the stage is like being on a trampoline. There are extreme highs and extreme lows. In addition to the fact that, like, you know, it is a bouncy stage. But when you're up there, you couldn't be any taller in any part of the world. It means so much to both yourself and the crowd going at it. It's nuts.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily a place where you get comfortable,
Yeah.
because it's not a comfortable atmosphere, but it's a place where you can do all of the things and be comfortable with who you like and who you are.
When I think Paperhouse, think of a cool gig, local gig, you know.
True.
He's
true,
right,
very true.
though.
Yeah,
He's
right.
right.
No, he's right. I find the name of the Paperhouse ironic, to be honest. In reference to the question, what do I think about the Paperhouse? I think about a place where originally the walls were so thin upstairs that they called it Paperhouse because you could hear the next room so well. In the basement here, you could have a full-on conversation in the back area and not even know there's a band playing.
Yeah.
Outside, it couldn't be any more just perfectly muffled.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
It's the best place to have like a big house show and know you're not gonna like bug anybody about it. This place and the people in it remind me a lot of like the whole Peter Pan, Neverland, Lost Boys, just running absolutely rampant. There's a couple of people that'll come in and kind of try and control it, but for the most part, it's just chaos here. It's uncomfortable, it's messy, it doesn't really like take care of itself, but it functions.
It's organized confusion. In a way.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful picture.
I mean, you just got an army full of characters coming in and out of the house. Like, if you sit in the upstairs porch for 30 minutes, you're gonna see 10 to 15 just bizarre human beings walk in and out of the house. You don't know if they live there, you don't know if they work here, you don't know if they do anything here, but they'll just be super warm. Like, you're just part of it. It's insane how easy it is to talk to anybody who presides around here, because they just get that it's just chaos. You can talk to anybody, you can just be comfortable.
I think of Paperhouse, I think of freedom, and I think of chaos. That shows get put together and booked, artists are brought together and allowed to do whatever they want. Both the artists and the bands. You can play whatever style you want. You can create what kind of art you want. It's about the freedom and the chaos that comes from this kind of space. That it's a feeling that people get when they come here. I think when people come here, they feel that there's a freedom, but they also feel that there's a love. So I think of chaotic love when I think of the Paperhouse. It's just a place for art to thrive in a free and safe environment where people respect the art, they respect the artists. The loving feel that people get is what lets them feel free. That they can let their freak flag fly, as it said, and do whatever comes to mind, whatever they feel, because they can feel safe in this sort of chaos. And for those who can use it to their power and create art of any sort and create bonds of friendship and love with the place itself and with the people who are here. I think that all of that is what I think of when I hear Paperhouse.
It depends on the day. It depends on the show or the event or the context of that. What do you guys think?
Sweaty.
Kind of like a party vibe. It's kind of like a Paperhouse vibe.
Yeah.
Like, it's definitely not like other house shows, but I don't know necessarily why.
It's unique because it's not like, hey, we have a house that we all rent out and we're gonna have a show here. It's kind of like when there's a show at the Paperhouse, like the entire house is going on.
Yeah.
It's like that one movie where the kid, it's like an animated movie, you know what I mean? And the kid, and there's like a monster house.
Monster
House? Yeah, that's what it's called. But it's like Monster House, kind of, in a way. House is the monster. Yeah. You know what I mean? Sometimes it can be like just the spot on 4th Street in Dinkytown, Minneapolis. You know, college campus. You know, people walk by, they hear a bunch of noise, and then all of a sudden what is supposed to be a show turns into a party, and then there's a ton of people here, and some people leave fans, and some people leave without even knowing where they were, you know?
Feels like there's always a solid turnout.
But sometimes it's hard to know if that turnout is for the music. And as a musician, that's something that often I assume crosses people's minds.
It's like, are you here for the music, or are you here to? Are you taking anything from it, or are you just kind of, you know, coming to party with all your friends and then you leave, and then all of a sudden it's like, I didn't hear about the Paperhouse, which is a cool DIY music venue. I heard about the Paperhouse that throws fucking parties every single night. So we can go there. And
Well, yeah, but then, one, I feel like that isn't necessarily happening like that. Maybe it is, but two, I don't know if it matters. Yeah, no, I agree. I think also, like, yeah, you can't, it's not like people are just coming to, like, drink here. It's like, if you're here, you're, like, you're aware of the bands, and if you don't like the music, you're probably leaving. There isn't a shortage of spots around here to drink, so I feel like people are like, oh, live music, wow.
Yeah, true.